A bad hair coat change your life. It'll truly change your life. I always say there's nothing anybody can ever say to hurt my feelings because I did a big chop at a Chicago public school. And I'm like, I was bald when I was in 6th grade. I'll be okay. Like, I'll be fine.
You already know, it's your girl Naira, and this is Shit Talks.
What's good, everybody? It's Naira. We're back for another episode of Shit Talks, and we've got some really cool guests. I feel like all of our guests are cool. They're super cool, and we're gonna chop it up about some things. I think this conversation is super important. I think that the work that y'all are doing is super important, and I'm not being biased. Y'all understand why there's a bias later on, but I'm not being biased. The topic of representation, expression, self-expression, and how it affects the way we navigate the world. And I've got some questions to ask y'all because everybody's always talking about representation, but like, does representation like do anything? Like, does it actually give, or is it like a facade? So we're gonna get into that, but first, let the people know who y'all are.
For sure. What's up, everybody? My name is Tre King. I'm a former fellow of ChicagoVotes. I had the pleasure of working closely with different staff members within ChicagoVotes, including Brian X. Shout out to him. And I'm excited to be here today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Elizabeth Tutu. I am a student, a photographer, and a model. I work closely with Tre and the work that he does, and I'm just really excited to talk about what is coming up.
Period. Cool. So let's get into it. Talk to me about what y'all are working on.
Okay, so first of all, I primarily am currently a master's student at Columbia College Chicago.
Come on, degree.
Exactly. And I have the pleasure of earning my degree towards cinema and television directing. And right now I'm currently in the process of creating and directing a short documentary that focuses on the perspectives of young Black people and the relationship they have with their hair and how that shapes their identity and who they are in relation to us as a people.
Yeah, period. Period.
We love that.
Yes.
I have the honor of capturing this representation of our hair through film, photography, and just really trying to capture the beauty of hair and just wanting everyone who's modeling and who's going to talk about their hair to really show that, like, you know, what they're about.
Yeah, express themselves. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my bias comes from the work that I do, which I shared with y'all. I co-direct hair care and wellness drive that culminates in like a benefit concert. Also, do y'all have a title for the documentary project yet?
It does have a wonderful title.
Are you allowed to share with us?
I don't want to share it. Don't want to share it. You know what? I give it a secret for now.
Okay, bet.
But since I like you so much, I'm gonna give you a little taste of what the title is going to like sort of represent. So basically, I decided to name it something that has to do with the strength and the resilience and the royalty that we have with our Black hair, and like the amount of like celebration that goes into making what our hair becomes and like the superpower that it entails.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm really excited for it.
I'm excited for y'all to see it.
Yeah, cool. So let's get into it, right? We're talking about expression, self-expression. We're talking about representation. I feel like a lot of times when we hear the phrase representation, you might think of like elected officials or people on TV, like, oh my gosh, why are they always casting, you know what I'm saying, like light-skinned girlies, that doesn't feel like representation for me, or like, why is there men in this position? I don't see myself represented. But I think something that we've also learned as Black folks is that, you know, all skin folk ain't kin folk, you know what I'm saying? And not everybody you can identify with is a representing factor. So then we get into this idea of like identity politics, right? Like, does representation actually have an impact? But there are spaces where it definitely does. So like, what's the importance of representation? Why does it matter? How does it help?
Representation is important because it not only shapes what we see, like on television, film, digital media, etc., but it shapes who we are and the types of people that we want to be. Like, for example, growing up, if I didn't see That's So Raven, if I didn't see Proud Family or things like that, I would have never thought like a career in film or television would be possible to be able to even create those types of stories. So I feel like representation starts, first of all, as a child, but also it shapes who we are early on and helps us see who we can become.
That's so real.
I was going to say something very similar, that representation really, really matters when you are young. Because for part of my life, I spent it in Ghana. And in 2012, I came back to America. I'm like 9 years old. I don't know what's going on here. And I go on TV and I'm seeing Zuri, you know, from Jessie. And I'm seeing China Anne McClain singing. And I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
That is me.
That's literally me.
I feel like growing up and seeing that, I really was like, I can do anything. Like, I can sing if I want to, I can act if I want to. And I feel like that was really important for me because, you know, coming to America and you don't see a lot of people your color when you just came from a country that is just people that look like you. Yeah. It was really important for me to see my people doing things that I didn't even dream.
Yeah, that's so real. I also, we've got a lot of things in common in this space because I also went to school for film as well. And I think that like, that was a huge thing for me, was that I wanted to create like, similarly, I watched things where I saw like, you know, that's where, oh my gosh, the way me and my friends' personalities are strictly based on like Raven's personality from the show. Yes. We are so like, she's so me. I'm literally so her. She's just like me for real, like literally. And so,
that's really twin. Like
that's literally my, that's literally my twin. But I'm sorry, you couldn't say that, not do it. That representation. And then also there were things that I saw in media that I felt like, you know, there's a lot of certain types of movies that like feature Black people. And I'm like, there doesn't need to be less of those. There just needs to be like more. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to go to school for film to like make movies that I want to see, like that feature us. So it's definitely like, it's also beautiful to hear y'all speak so positively about like, you know, representation and how it has had like a positive impact and has like worked for y'all, right? I feel like that fuels the energy behind the work. Is like, we have seen what it feels like to be happy, like be happily represented or be accurately represented. And now it's like emulating that or carrying that forward. So talk to me a little bit about like the photo side of things, right? Like how is there like power in translating that expression through like photo?
You know, with photo, there are no words, you know, no one can really say what they want in a photo, but to be able to capture someone's essence through the photo, and I feel like doing that with film is the way to do it, because film has its own aesthetic. It's beautiful just when it comes straight out of development. And I just really feel like with working with lighting and the different hair and the people and their energy, film is really going to be able to capture that alongside the documentary. And
yeah, that's so real. Film photography is beautiful. It like definitely has like a language of its own.
Absolutely. It evokes like a certain like nostalgia or like emotion toward it.
That's beautiful. So thinking of that nostalgia, right? Like y'all are talking about hair. When I think of hair photos, I'm imagining like, I'm thinking about like sitting between somebody's legs, getting popped with a comb or something like that. Like I'm thinking like that nostalgia aspect when it comes to hair. Hair takes up so much of our like adolescence. And I mean, obviously, I'll retwist my hair for 2 days straight. Like it takes forever. You know what I'm saying? It takes up so much space in our lives. But like, what drew y'all to the conversation of hair? Like why that? Why is that what y'all are choosing to talk about in this topic of representation?
In my journey of filmmaking so far, I knew from the start that I wanted to create something that was just so unapologetically Black. Like in a way, not in like a satirical, like a comedic type of way, but in a way that really just showcases who we are as a people. I said, before I leave film school, I'm going to create something that's going to be unapologetically Black. And what's more unapologetic about us than our hair? So I was like, that's the first thing that I landed on. That's the thing that I decided to go with. Because our hair tells so many different stories in one. It's the way we communicate with each other. It's the way we communicate with ourselves. It's how we express ourselves to the world. It's how we express our resiliency, our strength, our love, our power, etc. I can go on for days talking about the power of the waves or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or like just, like you said, like the hot comb experience, or like having my first haircut. I remember the first time I got a haircut I was in my grandfather's lap. And I will never forget the experience, just him even though like I was like crying and screaming and doing anything that just like communicate that I didn't want to be there, just that comfort of another individual, specifically my grandfather, was just a beautiful experience. So I was like, hair is something that is so unique to every single person within the diaspora. So I want to focus on that specifically.
That's so real. That is so beautiful. So wait, you said, hair is the way we communicate with each other. So let's talk about some hairstyles real quick and what they say about people, right? Like, so you talk about the waves. What the waves say about people? Like when you see somebody with waves, what that tell you about them?
Well, what it says about me is that I'm about my business.
Yes.
Is that I know what I'm doing with a comb.
R,
Exactly.
yeah.
And M.
And R.
I remember when I've had different hairstyles throughout my life. So a couple years ago when I decided I want to go from the curly fro back to the waves, it took a minute to get there. And so now that it's here, I'm like, y'all gonna see this hair because it took a minute to get there. That's what I mean when I say it represents like our strength, because like it took a couple years to actually get down the pattern that I wanted to, whether it was like talking to, thank you. Whether that's like talking to my barber about it, buying different like wave creams and grease and figuring out what works for my head and the shape or whatever. The fact that it's like here now, I'm like, y'all gonna see this hair.
Yeah. When you pull that dewy off, it's yoink.
Okay.
You're like, hello. That's what I used to have I've had a lot of hairstyles too. TikTok forced me to lock my hair. I give into societal pressure. I don't care. I'm one of those people. No, I'm joking.
And that's okay.
The comments was eating me. They're like, you need to lock your hair. I was like, all right, cool. I'll lock my hair. But I used to have waves too, and I definitely was like, brushing overtime, bro. Like I was putting my arms as strong as hell, bro.
I'm saying.
Yeah. So what? Okay. So what does the fro say? What does the fro say? What did curl say?
You know, I grew up. I've had a lot of hair like my whole life, and I cut my hair, and that was the first like. It really showed my strength, y'all, because I never thought in a million years that I would be able to just chop it off. Like I've just had so much hair my whole life, and I chopped it off, and it really affected my confidence and like how I walk through life because I'm so exposed now, and I'm like, why did I do this? And I'm like always going back and forth. I love it, and then I'm like, I want my hair back. But I just want to be as natural as I can be, and I feel like cutting my hair really gave me that opportunity. I feel like people can see me more, and I can really see me more and understand myself and the strength that I have and who I want to be when I walk outside, and like the confidence I want to portray. And it's really doing it. And the curls, you know,
They're fine.
I was gonna say,
They got a little snap.
yeah, he said they got a little, you know, a little this, you know what I'm saying? That's great. And also she like, I am bald by choice, you know what I'm saying? She said, I'm not bald head. I'm not bald head. Yeah.
This will grow back.
Yeah. She said, and I'm shitting on y'all still. Yeah, period. That's like, yeah, when I shaved my head, granted my family was like, you look like you're supposed to be bald. Like, they were like, you're eating, like you were supposed to be bald. I also made my brother was growing his hair out too, so I made him come with me to the barbershop. We both got our hair cut. They're like, thank you, Jesus. But now he has locks, so, you know, African parents gonna be mad, you know, whatever. They'll be okay. They'll live. Yeah. But yeah, period. So talk to me about the impact that you hope the work that y'all are making will have. Like, what do you, and I want y'all to think about this in a very like real, like, what's the way I'm trying to, like a literal sense, like in a literal sense. Yeah. What is the reaction you want someone to have when they see the work? Like, imagine someone is looking at it, or they see it, or they watch it. Like, what do you want to happen in that moment? Or what do you hope will happen?
My intention is that when a young, or even like of any age, type of Black person watches this film and this creation, I want them to see themselves, number one. And number two, I want them to see the crown that we wear. Like in sort of a light that is being portrayed through young people. Because I feel like in my filmmaking journey, I really want to focus on coming of age and telling the stories of young people and focusing on us specifically. So specifically, I want a young person to watch this and be like, that's me, or that's who I can be, and that's who my people are. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I'm choosing to showcase so many different types of hairstyles within our community. Like, for example, I have a very good friend of mine who doesn't have any hair on his head by choice, but he's still important to the culture as well. So I want someone to see him and be like, oh, that's me, or that's someone I know, but he's still an important part of our community, despite what he doesn't have.
Yeah, that's so real.
And with the photos, I just want someone to look at that and be like, that is art. Like, that is beautiful. You know, and I just feel with the aesthetic that is gonna come out with film, it's gonna be beautiful, no matter what.
Cause we in it. Hello.
Okay,
Yeah, like,
and the color. Okay, so I just want someone to look at that and be, the hair is beautiful. That person's beautiful. Whatever you look at is beautiful. Yeah, and that's all.
Absolutely. That's so real. You know, and speaking of the thing, well, number one, I think that's also like. Just that fascination, like the same fascination that you like look at something grand or like beautiful or outstanding. Like, yeah, imagine if like that was the association that like people had when they look at our hair. Like, not even just other people, but just ourselves, right? Like, you know, I literally when I because I did my like big chop when I was in, well, my first big chop when I was in like 6th grade or something like that, right? And so when my hair started becoming an afro, people outside were being like, well, you need to perm her hair, and like telling my mom like, well, you need to perm her hair, you need to do her hair is not done. But my dad came to this country in the 70s and he was like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Because he was like, the afro for him was like beautiful and like powerful. And he was like, that's like my idea of like beautiful black hair is an afro. And I was like, huh, like that's so, but then it's also so interesting to see how times change and like representation change and like the things that people find beautiful can like change. So imagine like, you know, bringing
Especially from generation to generation.
exactly, and bringing that back around, like, oh, we have the power to shift that and make people be like, no, that's beautiful, like that's my idea of beauty.
That's because when I was in Ghana, my hair was permed. Like it was either your hair was all cut off or you had to have it like in braids or like cornrows or something.
Literally.
And then you come here, and at first it was, you know, tame that, whatever you got going on, tame it. And then it shifts into beautiful curls, afro, and I just love that.
Yeah.
But at first it was never like that.
It wasn't.
See the shift.
Yeah, it
It
is.
is, and I think we're in a beautiful time. It's always a good time to be black, but what a lovely time to be black. Like, you know,
Because high school, they were like,
they was eating me up.
they were like, how come your curl pattern is like that and hers is so nappy? Just because she's lighter skinned than me.
Like,
I'm like, how can you say that
to me? No, literally.
I was the only like person in my grade who had their hair natural that wasn't mixed, and people were like, why would you do that?
What?
I was like, why would you do that?
Right.
I was like, I don't know. I'm literally just a girl. I'm literally just a girl.
And you see how those types of experiences shape who you are today. Whether that strengthened or diminished who you were at the time, it still is a vital like experience that happens.
Yeah, exactly. It really like changes that. That's why when I see little black girls out there, their hair's natural, what you be saying? I like your hair. I love you. Like, I like your hair. That's beautiful. Real quick, since we're talking about antidotes, talk to me about, I want y'all to take a moment to think about this. Talk to me about, have y'all ever had any hair nightmares? Like, not like literal, you were closing your eyes thinking and had a nightmare and you're like, hot comb. Like, no, like if you like, what, is there any hairstyles or anything like that when you look back, you're like, now why did I do that?
I could think of maybe a couple.
Yeah.
So I would always love to straighten my hair. Like, it's cute for the one time, but it's very hard to maintain. I remember it was like right before school was about to start, I got my little silk press. I go to sleep, wake up, it's gone.
It's not silk.
Because it was so humid in that room, it was gone. And I was like, what just happened? What just happened?
Literally, who is this?
And there's no way to fix it. I had to put some braids in because I can't go outside looking like that.
Or a hat on.
Something had to be done.
The hat will do it.
I was like, what? And also when I did cut my hair, because I cut my hair myself, that was uneven.
Yeah.
It was so uneven.
Yeah.
I said, go to a professional, please.
Yeah. That was me.
This is your first time.
Yeah.
I don't know how I did that.
Yeah.
But I be struggling.
Yeah.
I'll get cute little locks. I go to take them out. I accidentally cut my hair.
Yeah.
I did in two
Maybe
places.
you should go to the shop.
I think I just need to stop doing things on my own.
touching your
I
hair.
think so.
Maybe
Because
say don't touch.
That was fun.
Yeah.
I really do need to stop.
That's beautiful.
No, that's not, but it's amazing. It's amazing.
I got that silk press and the dye I did on my own. Line. It was so cute.
That's actually why. You know what's so crazy though? Because my parents for some reason let me dye my hair blue when I was my mom did. My dad didn't even realize what was. He paid for it too. Anyway, he didn't even realize what was going on. But I didn't know that heat messes up blue dye, and so then I was like, I'm gonna straighten it. And I tried to straighten it, and it was like turning green while I was like passing but I already started. We already here, so then I straightened it. But then it was like, I had never really straightened my own hair before, so it was one of those moments where like, when you put your head down, the hair.
It's coming with you. It's coming with you.
You know, you like this.
The stick was there.
This shit turned into like the tail of an airplane. You like, let's take off. Anyway, do you have any?
I had some time to think about mine. No, I'm gonna share one specifically. So there was a time when I was starting to experiment with going blonde in my hair. I had done like a orange red a while before. And then from there I was like, okay, I wanna try blonde. I really wanna get into like a really different color. So I was starting to experiment a little bit. I was doing this myself, mind you. And I did well like the first couple of times, but I really wanted to get it to that platinum color. And in order to get it to that platinum color, you have to do it like a couple of different times. So the toner that I was using, mind you, this was the day before I was on like a short film set that I was also starring in. So I was like, I really want my hair to be platinum for this. It's gonna turn out really, really well. I washed out the toner, my hair is like an orange color. I said, oh.
That was not the science and math. That was.
I was like, this is not the blonde. Oh.
Okay.
Right.
Sure. Oh, well, who are you?
Literally. So I was like, something's not adding up.
When did you? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so right, exactly. So that was kind of a nightmare experience. I can remember like going to set and just being like, hopefully nobody notices that my hair is low-key orange. Hopefully they don't think I'm going through something.
Yeah.
Cause like, I was like, that wasn't my intention, but we got through it. I had to just suck it up and do what I had to do because I had to be on camera that day. But I can also think of another situation. And this has nothing to do with my childhood barber or the barber I currently have now because they are wonderful people.
Okay, just saying that. So,
I'm
right. And you're gonna come with that.
Right, no, and I'm not talking about them. But there was a time when I first moved to the city where I was like starting to figure out what barber was gonna be right for me. And long story short, there was a situation where my hairline got pushed back just a little bit. And I didn't notice it at first because I was like, maybe I was a little blind to the fact that my hairline was a little pushed back. But then my dad noticed, and I was like, you know what? You're kind of right because my forehead has never been this big before. I know I kind of got a big forehead, but it has never been this big before.
It never started back here.
Yeah, so something was off there. But everything is cool now. But I'm like, in the moment, it's like, wow, this is really, like, my head is really odd shaped right now. Like, that's crazy. But we good now.
It changes the landscape of your
I'm
appearance, bro.
saying, I said my widow's peak is like literally back
It's
here.
peaking, like
It's peaking.
It's literally, that is hilarious. Bro, I ain't gonna lie. Well, first of all, when I cut my hair, like when I had waves, I ain't gonna lie. I had like 2 shots of Hennessy in the middle of the night. I had moved back with my parents.
problem.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
first and last and like still
Yeah.
problem. Anyway, so no, I don't drink. Stay away from Henny, y'all. But I literally woke up in the middle of the night. I had moved back with my parents from school when I decided to like transfer to Chicago. And I woke up in the middle of the night. I had some like Hennessy. I was like, I'm gonna cut my hair off and just cut all my hair off. And then I was like, oh shit, this shit low-key ugly as hell. And so then I went to the car. I had some bleach. So I was like, okay, it was hair bleach. It was hair bleach. It was it was hair bleach. I bleached. I don't know why it was in my car, but I bleached my hair. And then I was like, and then my mom the next morning, she was like, come to the store with me. I was like, okay. I put a hat on. We were in the car. I took the hat off. She was like, it's not even. She was like, well, maybe we should, okay. She like cut it the rest of the way. She was like, what's going on? So anyway, I totally understand. My barber gave me a design on the side of my head after I had waves. That's how I grew my hair out. A bad haircut would change your life. It'll truly change your life.
Worst way.
Yeah, it'll change your life. Shout out to him. He was a great barber until he did that shit. Get the fuck out of here. I ain't seen his ass since. Okay, cool. So we're talking about like all of these like hopes that we have for representation, right? Like, I mean, all the hopes that we have for the project, right? What you want people to think and feel when they look at it, right? How do you think that impacts the way, like, how do you think that's going to impact the way that they move about the world?
I feel like in a way it empowers you to be something that you may not have thought of before. So for example, if you're watching like a form of television and you see somebody who looks like you, talks like you, dresses like you, has the same culture as you, then it sort of is like, oh, maybe I can go out into the world and do that same type of thing. Like I know like TV and film, like that's a whole different type of scenario. Yeah. But for example, like me navigating the real world, if I know that there are certain artists, actors, or people that I just look up to, and I see like them doing their thing and them empowering themselves and other people based on their art, then I'm able to do that with my art because I see other people doing that in ways that I aspire to be.
That's so real. Yeah.
Because when I see something, I can't unsee it. So if I saw something and I just thought it was so beautiful, that's going to be in the back of my mind. And eventually I'll probably gain the confidence to replicate that in my own way.
Right.
Yeah. So when I see someone cut their hair and I'm like, you look like me, you look gorgeous, I want to do that. I can do that. I'm going to cut my hair no matter how scared I am. So I kind of gain more confidence to really walk in who I want to be.
Exactly. And then in that instance, it's kind of like a domino effect because somebody sees you
someone's
and is inspired by you.
And they're like, I love your hair.
Right.
I'm gonna go cut my hair. Yeah, that was me with bleach. I had a bleached eyebrow agenda. I was like, you bleach your eyebrows, you bleach your eyebrows, everyone bleach your eyebrows, because I saw somebody else with bleached eyebrows. I was like, I think I eat that.
My hair, I'm like, let me dye your hair.
Exactly. No,
Color?
literally, that's me. Oh my gosh, I have dyed so many people's hair. I don't know if it was good or not, but it's too late. Bye. Get out.
Everyone needs to be looking like me.
Exactly. No, that's so real. I also think that like the impact that it has on like the way that I like see myself in other situations. Like I feel like because I always say there's nothing anybody can ever say to hurt my feelings because I did a big chop at a Chicago public school. And so I'm like, but it also like jokes aside, it also gives me like this confidence that maybe I wouldn't have had. Like I was super like, I was gregarious when I was young, but I was still like shy and like anxious. And so it like made me understand that one, like being nervous or being anxious is like normal, but also you're literally not gonna die. Like you're gonna be okay. Like so what if the hairstyle turns out wrong? Or so what if like people don't like your hair? Like and then you're gonna go home, you're gonna go to sleep, and you're gonna wake up the next morning, you're gonna be fine. So I feel like that changed the way I navigate like being scared or being embarrassed as well in any other situation. I'm like, I was bald when I was in 6th grade. I'll be okay. Like, I'll be fine. Period. How can people support? What you want people to do? What can we do? Give me a call to action.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're filming next month.
Okay.
The way you can support is to, so when the film is completed at the end of the year, I'm going to figure out a way to share it digitally and also sort of in person if I can. But the way to support would be to continue following us, like on our social medias, our team and everything. Continue supporting ChicagoVotes because they're a lot of the reason why I can do a lot of what I do. So shout out to them in general. But continue to support by supporting.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a matter of just reaching out, communicating, seeing, showing up.
so real, show
exactly, yeah. Supporting your community.
Period.
And we are the community.
Period.
So support us.
Open that pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? Drop those coins. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Period.
Absolutely.
I think that's all.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Thanks for talking y'all shit. Period. This has been Shit Talks. Once again, I'm Naira.